All right, and it looks like we're recording. So welcome to everybody today. We'll just kind of do an overview of a couple things that we've got going on. But first of all, I have to be able to advance my slides. There we go. I'd just like to take a minute for everybody to go around and introduce themselves, say a little bit about where you work, what type of work you do, and anything else that you feel that folks should know. Who would like to start?
My name is Jeff Weinstock. I'm a CNA and I work for Wesley Life and Pella.
Great, thanks, Jeff.
Becky Johnson. I work for Mitchell County Home Health Care in Osage, Iowa.
Welcome, Becky.
I am Judy Clark. I'm from Esterville, but I work in Emmitsburg Care Center as a CNA, part-time.
Great, thanks.
I'm Nancy Bunt, and I work for Greenbelt Home Care, Hardin County Public Health.
All right. Well, thanks. That gives us an idea of kind of who we've got on the phone today. And some of you probably met each other in your orientation. We had 2 different orientations in person and then 1 online orientation. So some of those names may sound familiar to you. So I just wanted to hear a little bit about any kinds of ambassador outreach activities that you've had a chance to do recently, or if you have ideas for things that you want to do in the future. Maybe it's a fully developed meeting that you've already got planned, or just kind of a thought about something that you might like to do. Anyone have anything that they would like to share that they've done, or an idea they have for the future?
Yeah, I have talked about it a little bit when I went to an ICA meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, and that's a great example of using existing opportunities to share a little bit about the project. Don't always feel like you have to create your own meeting or, gathering of folks. If there are times that you're already meeting with people who would be interested in hearing about the initiative, always feel free to take advantage of that. And when you've got a group of people in the room already, you might as well share with them a little bit about what the project is about.
And I also talk a lot about it at work, too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a group of people who would be interested in knowing about the Direct Care Workforce Initiative, right? Other direct care professionals and people in the field.
You're right.
And so Jeff, when you're talking to your coworkers and folks at work, what kinds of questions do people have?
About the credentials and everything.
Mm-hmm. What's their opinion of that? Are they excited? Are they nervous? Are they confused?
Excited.
Okay, good.
For a future activity, I think, this is Becky Johnson, by the way,
Yeah.
Erin Drennan and I are going to hopefully speak at September 20th for I can't remember what it was. It was some kind of a conference. So we're waiting to see if the application goes through with that, and we will partner on that one.
Yeah, is that the Rural Health Conference? Does that sound right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a great opportunity. I think we've realized that, we're starting to get out there and people are hearing about it, but especially in the most rural areas of Iowa, folks just aren't aware of what's going on. People haven't heard about it. It's kind of that filter out effect that I think that'll be a great opportunity, and hopefully you guys will be able to speak at that conference.
Yeah.
I'm going to participate in that too.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought you both had your names on there. I saw the application the other day. It looks like a great thing for you to do. All right. Any other thoughts? And we'll have some time towards the end to talk about any ideas about activities that you might want to do coming up in the next month too.
This is Nancy at Greenbelt. We've already started talking to our staff about it because, just like nursing homes, home care is getting people sicker and sicker in care all the time, and because of face-to-face, that's affected things, and we need our staff to be able to do more than really they can do right now, and this will help with that. I have not gotten any resistance from my staff at all. They are also, as Jeff said, excited, and they're not really worried about the financial part of it, and we've discussed how we could maybe help with some of that. Of course, we're still exploring options because we're waiting for the final, directives to come down as to what and who and where and how much and so forth.
Sure.
And I've also talked to legislators several times.
Oh, great.
And what I get from them is what I get from them a lot. I don't know if they are ignorant about it or uninformed, or if that's just a card they play. But nonetheless, it's been discussed with Steve Sodders and Annette Sweeney and several others. So Annette Sweeney is very positive about it.
Okay.
When I talk to her, I get no take on it from Sodders at all.
Sure.
He doesn't, I can get no pulse there at all
Okay.
as to what he's thinking.
Yeah. So not necessarily saying that he's opposed to it. You're just not able to tell what his view is.
Right. It's a complete blank when I talk to him.
Okay. Well, hey, that's not the worst thing. We'll take it.
Well, and he's I think there's partially a reason for that. I mean, his wife and I are in very, very competing. Our businesses compete with each other quite a little bit. I'm pretty sure that has something to do with it. But that, and I've been a pretty strong advocate in the privatization of DHS, and he does not like that at all.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So, and that's okay, because
Right.
that's what people do is disagree and get more information and move forward and make new decisions. But Annette is very pro-home care, very pro-skill levels, improving for people. She's very pro-education, period.
Great. Okay.
So.
Good. Well, and just having those conversations gets it in people's minds. Well, actually, that's a great transition, Nancy. I just want to give everybody a legislative update. The last time we had a webinar, we were in the midst of conference committees meeting, and so everything was very much up in the air. So hopefully you saw the Initiative E update that went out with the information that a bill did pass both the House and Senate that came out of conference committee. The good news is there is funding to support the work of the Direct Care Worker Advisory Council, which is the group that put together these recommendations for education standards and credentialing and the board. The bad news is that the establishment of the Board of Direct Care Professionals did not make it out of the conference committee. As many of you know, the Senate did pass a version that established the Board of Direct Care Professionals, which would be the body that would oversee the credentialing for direct care professionals. That in itself, you guys, is really huge. In a time as we're in with lots of limitations on resources and kind of a climate of looking to spend less and maybe have a little less government, just the fact that a bill that established a body that would credential direct care workers and takes a little bit of upfront investment by the legislature, it really is pretty exciting that we got that passed through the Senate. So we knew it was very possible that it would not make it out of committee, because we knew that we had some pretty strong opposition in the House. But the good news is that several people who worked on that bill, both legislators and some of our partners, AARP and the or DIES group, the Caregivers Association. There were several groups that worked very hard on that legislation and are very committed to bringing it back next legislative session. So we believe that there's a great chance that that by next legislative session, the recommendations of the Direct Care Worker Advisory Council could be implemented. So that's the good news. What that means for you guys as ambassadors is that your role is very important. As we're in the interim between legislative sessions, this is really the time when we have the opportunity to get out there, get into communities, build support from other DCPs, people who work in the direct care world, consumers, families, legislators, everybody. This is really the opportunity to build that support so that we have even more support going into the next legislative session. So are there any questions about what happened with the legislation or anything related to the bill?
I did try to get it, passed because I kept writing to my legislatures every day.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we know that you guys put forth a lot of effort, and I know that was one of the big reasons that the bill made it as far as it did. And it really, even though it may feel like, darn, we didn't get it done. It's making policy is kind of an incremental process. You take baby steps, and we made some pretty significant steps with establishing the board of DCPs. And don't forget, too, that we do still have all of the pilot work going on. The state of Iowa has a grant from the federal government to do the PCAST, as we call them, PCAST pilots. So we do have many people that are piloting the curriculums that have been developed. People are starting to be trained on those curriculums. We've got people that are piloting a mentoring project that will help support direct care professionals. We have folks that are helping with the evaluation of both those curriculum and the mentoring programs. So there's a lot being done, and there's a lot that will continue to be done. And one of the things that is planned over the next year, right now the curriculum is being used by those pilot sites that were selected for the PCAST grant. Because we do have the continued funding to support the work of the council, one of the things that we'll be doing is making that curriculum and training on the core and the different modules available to a broader base of people, so that more people will be able to take the training than just those who are in the pilot projects. So that'll be exciting to be able to get some of those curricula that have been established by fantastic groups of people. There are many minds that contributed to the curriculum. The DCP Education Review Committee that Becky is a part of has done a lot of work on responding to that as well. So that those curriculums and training will begin to really move across the state. And we think that will really help with building support as well when folks start to see the high quality training that will help support DCPs. Okay. Well, on that topic of outreach statewide, we are planning a set of statewide outreach meetings. And we're going to have 2 rounds of meetings. The first round will be in June, which is coming up sooner than I would like to admit. And then the second round will be probably in September. So with this first round of statewide outreach meetings, really our goals are, first of all, to thank everyone who worked so hard to support direct care professionals in the work of the the Direct Care Advisory Council and the initiative this year. People worked very hard, and we just want to recognize that and give folks a chance to talk a little bit about the work that they've done and really celebrate how far that we have come. And also, of course, give folks the opportunity to learn more about the initiative. And I think that, so far we've really been kind of targeting direct care professionals, employers, legislators, and we're really starting to broaden that audience and start looking at, this is going to impact consumers or clients or whatever, terminology your setting uses. This is something that's important to people. Folks want to make sure that, they want the people who are taking care of them to feel supported and have the best training possible and be able to do good work. And so this really is something that just about anybody can relate to. I mean, even if you personally haven't received services from a DCP, although I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone that had never received services from a DCP, chances are you have a family member or a friend or an acquaintance who either has received services or will in the future. We know as the population of the state of Iowa ages, more and more folks will need the services of DCPs. So this really is an issue that the general public can wrap their head around and be supportive of. So we have tentatively identified 4 dates in June to do these first 4 meetings. And some of you are in these areas or close by these areas. So right now we're looking at June 18th in Mason City, June 20th in Dubuque, the 21st in Waterloo, and the 26th in Des Moines. So we're hoping that for those of you who are close to one of these locations or might even be in one of these locations, we'd love to have your participation in these outreach forums. We're looking, as far as time frame goes, we're looking at doing them 3:30 to 5 p.m. That'll, hopefully we'll catch some folks who are going to be able to do this on work time, so we'll catch them before the work day is over, and then hopefully for DCPs we might be able to catch you between shifts, or if you have to take time off, it would only be a little bit at the beginning or an end of a shift. But kind of the format of this is that we're hoping to have a panel that might have maybe a DCP or an employer, maybe a legislator in your area who's been supportive. That is one of the reasons that we've selected the cities that we did, is that we've got some legislators in each of these areas who've been very supportive of the project. So we'll be inviting those legislators to be a part of the forum, kind of talk about their involvement and why this issue is important to them. So the roles that we're hoping that you guys would be able to engage in for these forums are really kind of whatever you're interested in doing and feel comfortable doing. First and foremost, we'd love to have you help host them. So that might be helping people, greeting people as they come in the door, signing people in, maybe doing name tags, just kind of helping out and making yourself available in case someone has a question, wants to talk to a direct care professional or someone who's an employer of DCPs. The other thing that we'd love to have you do is invite folks that are in that area that you might know. So, maybe it's your coworkers, maybe different organizations that you either work for, have worked for in the past, other companies that you know of. Invite friends and family, and invite consumers too, because as we talked about, this really is something that relates to everybody. And then if you're interested, we may have some opportunities for ambassadors to participate on one of the panels that we're doing at the forums. So let me go back to the locations. just kind of glancing at this, who all thinks they might be able to make it to one of these meetings, geographically or date-wise? Becky, obviously.
I'm looking at my schedule.
Yeah.
I think I have that day off for Des Moines.
In Des Moines? Okay. Great.
I could help with Mason City and Waterloo.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and
do you know where these places are going to be at yet?
No, we haven't decided. And actually, I might want to talk to you about where you think a good spot would be. We definitely, in your area, Becky, want to invite both Amanda Reagan and let's see, Jeff Danielson is Waterloo. So connecting with those legislators, and I know that you've got a good relationship with Amanda Reagan, so that would be wonderful. Okay. What about anybody think Dubuque would be a possibility? I think we've got one of the DCP Education Review Committee members, Fran, is up near Dubuque, so hopefully he might be able to participate in that. Okay. Oh, that went back. Okay, well, we'll send out more information about this. But probably what will end up happening is that, and you'll see this later on, we're gonna postpone the June webinar, and instead we're gonna do calls with people who are going to participate in the forums for each of those areas. So we don't want to overload you guys with all of these calls and webinars. So if you're able to participate or help out with one of the outreach forums, we'll get some information out and find time to talk about what will be happening in each forum. All right.
I might be able to help with Des Moines.
Okay.
And I can do Des Moines too.
Yeah, great, Jeff. And was that who was that said Des Moines before? Was that Nancy?
Yeah,
Nancy? Okay, great. Just had this moment of panic that I didn't trust my voice recognition abilities. All right, great. Well, we'll be in contact with everybody to let you know more information as we get closer to the dates, although we're getting pretty close already as it is. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about ideas for activities for ambassadors. These are all things that we kind of talked about in orientation, and we've touched on as we've gone forward. But just kind of a reminder of the different types of activities that you can do, and that I think are going to be most impactful here in the next 4 to 5 months. So really part of this is just informing folks. There are a lot of people out there who will be impacted by this project who maybe don't know much about it yet, or maybe don't know anything. So the more that you can get out there and share information, I think we've heard from a lot of you that once folks know about it, most people are pretty excited by this. Whether they're a DCP or an employer, there are lots of benefits that people see. So whether it's, having a roundtable conversation, bringing folks together to do kind of an informal question and answer, maybe you do an overview of the initiative and then give people time to ask questions. If you have the ability to do lunch and learns at your place of employment, that's another place, like Jeff talked about earlier, talking to his coworkers. Of course, those are people who are all going to be affected and would be interested in this. And so accessing those folks who you already know, that helps. That makes it maybe a little less intimidating to talk to them. Or just those informal presentations or just conversations. Making sure that people are signed up for the e-update, that's a huge one. Always, always, always remind people that will be the number one, that is the number one place to get information about the Direct Care Workforce Initiative. That's where we communicate everything, and that will continue to be very important once board legislation is passed, once grandfathering processes start, when we're looking at opportunities to have people take the curriculum trainings, that'll come out over the e-update. That is really the pivotal source of information. And then also looking at opportunities for existing meetings where people are already meeting. You don't have to do the work to gather them together. Just ask for a few minutes on the agenda to be able to share information about the initiative. And then also, contacting your legislators. They're going to play a big role in how this advances in the future. Some of your legislators may be running for re-election this year, and so that may mean that they're out and about in the community more. That's a great opportunity for you to remind your legislators about issues that are important to you. They want to hear from their constituents, and that's why they have these events. And the more that you can remind them about the importance of the work that you do and how important it is to ensure that DCPs are trained and have the support that they need, and we can ensure quality across the state. The more, and they love to hear it from you. They don't want to hear it from me. They want to hear it from people who are doing this work, people who are on the front line, and so your voice is just so important. Any other thoughts about activities? Just want to mention the kinds of support that we can provide to you to help with sharing information. We have a few different handouts or one-pagers. We have a lot of those up on the wiki site, but I know that sometimes printing can be an issue. So we're happy to print out a batch of materials and mail them to you. We can help you create a letter to the editor. We can give you some sample language for emailing legislators. We can also come to you. We can come to your area if you're thinking, hey, there's this group of people that I think should really know about the initiative, but I'm not sure, this is something I feel comfortable planning totally on my own. We can come help. We can help plan the meeting. We can help do the actual meeting. Sometimes it's nice to have someone else there to answer questions. We're also happy to help brainstorm activities in your area. What else can we do that would be helpful to you guys as you're going about your ambassador activities?
Would you come as far as Esteville, Iowa?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because I live in Esteville, but I work in Emmitsburg.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of checking to see how if someone could come here and help me, because I don't work that much. My husband and I do a lot of hymns and hers music,
Mm-hmm.
nursing homes and assisted living places to sing and play our music.
Yeah.
And if you, someone could come and maybe help me present that, maybe even to the nursing home in Emmitsburg, have that.
Sure.
She would like to know a little bit more about this.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something we can do, because we're looking at, in addition to getting around the state and being available to you guys to do some of this work, we're just going to be around the state meeting with some of these organizations and companies to help answer questions that they may have. So we can always piggyback trips. We can, Judy, maybe we can talk a little bit more next week about what a good time would be for you and who some of those contacts might be at Emmitsburg to set up a visit. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and maybe even an in-service meeting type of thing.
Yeah.
For everybody to know about that. And if I talk to the administrator and the the nursing director,
Mm-hmm.
if you could come on maybe a month a special type, a special time. You know, we usually have it the third Monday of every month, a nurses' aid meeting,
Okay.
face-to-face in-service meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
And that's where I would need assistance and
Mm.
have one of you to help.
Yeah, absolutely. We would be happy to do that. And that's a great idea, Judy. You know, finding a time when folks are already scheduled to gather together, you know, that's often easier than trying to create a time when people would need to, you know, put it on their calendar. So that's great. Yeah, if you want to start, you know, mentioning that to the administrator or nursing director, and you and I can talk later about, you know, what our next steps would be. We would love to come out and talk to the nursing assistants. That would be great.
And that would be the only time that I could really do it, because I put that on our calendar because our music goes from Monday to Thursday, and then every month I usually have that particular meeting at Emmitsburg on the calendar.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Other thoughts about ways that we could help you guys?
That's a good idea. I think I'll work on something like that myself.
Good. Yeah, do a lot of you have times when the DCPs in your organization get together and have kind of an in-service time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great opportunity. I mean, you've got a captive audience of folks who would all be very interested in learning about it. So yeah, let us know how we can help with a meeting like that. We'd love to.
I think maybe for like home health care in our area, I think the outreach meeting would be a wonderful start to invite as many people as I can from the area and get them in some place like Nyack or something, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then go from there. I think you can get an abundance of people in one of these meetings that you schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point, Becky, that this, for some people, this will be kind of the first exposure that they may have to it, and this can kind of whet their appetite and get them interested in learning more, because probably the outreach forums are going to be a little more general. You know, we wouldn't necessarily get into the details about, you know, what the grandfathering process looks like, or, you know, what core or what training modules you'd need to take to be a health support professional. But if people who are interested in those kinds of details start hearing about the project, you know, if they attend one of these outreach meetings, then once they know a little bit about the initiative, then that next step might be setting up a more in-depth meeting opportunity with them. Okay.
Well, that would be good to get the media and everybody in on that too.
Yes, that is definitely the plan. That we'll get some media attention for that. So put your biggest smile on and.
Good point there, Becky.
Yeah.
I like the way you think.
Oh yes, we love earned media whenever we can get it. Great.
Thank you, Jeff, by the way.
You're welcome.
You guys are great. I love it. Okay. Well, speaking of all of the work that we are counting on ambassadors to do, I mentioned this at the last webinar. We are going to be looking for another round of ambassadors to kind of build up our force and reach even further across the state. We have a pretty good geographic representation right now with you guys, with our current ambassadors. But like I said, the more we can get into some of those smaller communities, some of those corners of the state that we traditionally have a hard time finding folks, we'd really like to get some of those folks or areas to have ambassadors there. So we are going to be doing recruitment. The application process will be pretty similar to what you guys went through. You'll fill out an application with some information about, your background, the work that you do, why people are interested in being an ambassador. And we will start sending that information around next week. I will send you guys a sample email that you can just kind of forward on to folks who might be interested in that. Would it also be helpful? What's another good way to communicate with people that might be interested? Would it be helpful to have like little posters or flyers, or what would be useful for you to spread the word to potential ambassadors?
Okay, I think that would be a good idea, is to maybe have some like little flyers that we could post in different facilities.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Do you have the mailing list for all the public health administrators statewide?
I don't know if we do.
What is your relationship with Kim Poles?
Yeah, she's supportive of the project and has been involved, definitely.
Because I'm wondering if you could get email addresses from her for home cares that belong to the Alliance.
Yeah, maybe. We try to sort of limit the amount of unsolicited emails that we send out. So it might be a push to get those folks signed up for the e-update just in general, and then they would see it. But that's a really good idea to sort of use some of those networks.
I know that at 2 separate meetings I've been at, I've told a story about something that happened in our county, and even though the employee no longer works for us and hadn't, CIA held us responsible for the investigation, and that piqued some administrators' interest that had been kind of pushing back when I would talk about this. If we're going to be responsible anyway, let's get everybody to a level and have an answering board, because I had no board to turn this gal into, and
sure,
really, I couldn't. My hands were tied. I investigated, turned the report in, and that's really all I can do. And she's still out there making the world not a happy place. And so,
Yeah, that's a good point. Unfortunately, every once in a while, you have a bad apple, and that's the kind of the public safety piece that the board ensures. It gives an opportunity to have, a board of their peers that can deal with those kinds of issues.
Well, that and what we've turned it around to our staff, because this is somebody who did used to work for us, and what she's doing is hindering our staff or causing stress for our staff, is that this kind of thing will put them in a more professional position.
Right.
And how is that a bad thing? Because then they're not in the same pot with somebody like that. They have chosen more education. They have chosen to better themselves. They've chosen professionalism. They've chosen all these good things.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. Okay. Well, we'll do some flyers that we can post for the ambassador recruitment. And as far as timeline goes, we'll spend the month of June kind of doing the recruitment and applications, and then we will do a couple of ambassador orientations in July. So after we get through the statewide outreach forums, we'll do those rounds of in-person orientations for ambassadors. So yeah, as many folks as you can get this information out to. We'd love to have anyone who's interested in engaging. And I know, for some of you, maybe you were familiar with the project before you became an ambassador, and for others, becoming an ambassador was a great way for you to really learn in depth about the initiative and the work going on. So yeah, we'll get that information out to you, and just send it to anybody and everyone that you think might possibly be interested. Just a little snippet of interesting information and update on the project. This week I've been working with Erin Drennan at the Department of Public Health on testing what they call the public portal. So for other boards, the Board of Medicine or the Board of Cosmetology, they have these websites where you can go and you can, look up information about, is this person credentialed, or people who are being credentialed can log into the website and update their continuing education, or that's where you apply for it. So that system that would support the credentialing of direct care workers is in the process of being designed. And it is a very, very complex system, as I'm sure you can imagine. All of the intricacies of the different trainings and, pulling in testing results if folks are getting advanced credentials and, reapplying and sending reminders and all of that. We're in the initial stages of development for that. So something that we'll be looking to you guys to help with later this, I believe later this summer, or maybe even early fall, depending on how the IT system development goes. We will be looking for people to help test the system, and we'll have a couple rounds of tests that we'll do. We'll do a first round where we're probably going to do some in-person testing where we'll really walk you through the system and have you test for some really specific things that we want to make sure work. Things that we think might be glitches. There's an employer piece of, once the whole system is up and running, employers will be able to, keep track of how their DCP employees are, coming along continuing education. And so there will be all sorts of different elements that will need to be tested. So that's something that we'll be coming to you guys to help out with. And then the second round of testing will be more of a blind test where it'll be more like the experience that someone coming into the profession would have. And so just making sure that the system is user-friendly and that it makes sense to people and still testing some of those functions. So things are rolling. It's pretty exciting. We're meeting with the tech guy, so it's very, I feel like he has to translate many things for us into real world language, but it's been an interesting process. So exciting stuff. All right. Future webinars. As I mentioned, we are going to, instead of doing a whole group webinar in June, we're going to take time to just do those individual calls for each outreach forum site. So we'll have some planning that'll need to happen for each of those sites, and we'll just do individual calls for each site instead of bringing everybody together all at once, since we'll have different things to talk about based on each site. And then for future, I think we're just going to kind of keep alternating days and times since everyone has a different schedule. So we'll just make sure to get that information out to you well in advance so that hopefully you'll be able to plan ahead. If you're not able to join, you can always listen to the recording or check out the information. But we've got the next two dates, July 19th at 3 o'clock, which now, of course, I can't remember. I think that's a Wednesday, and I think August 22nd is a Thursday at 9 a.m., but it may be reversed. One is a Wednesday and one is a Thursday.
22nd.
Yeah, okay. Great. And I think we're gonna do them a little later in the week, because I don't know about you guys, but trying to do stuff on a Monday or a Tuesday kind of can sometimes sneak up on you. And so I think we have a better opportunity, if folks aren't thinking about it, maybe you check email at the beginning of the week. Having that reminder, it's less likely to catch us off guard. And I think today seemed to be a good time. I appreciate that. I worried a little bit about the holiday weekend if people would be thinking about that. So I appreciate that you guys all had this on your calendar and were able to join. So we'll do the same website address and call-in every month. We learned last month that because we're not using a telephone number that's associated with this GoToMeeting system, because in order to do that, it's not a toll-free number. And we didn't want you guys to have to deal with calling long distance. So because we're using our own SPPG's conference line, we're not able to have folks connect with audio just through the internet. So you do have to actually call into the conference line each time. But you know, hopefully that's not too much of a burden for folks. And as you probably noticed, I mean, it's nice to have the information up on your computer screen, but if you're not able to connect to the internet during that time, don't worry about it. I mean, I clearly talk a lot, so we pretty much cover everything, and the online aspect of it is helpful but not necessary. Whereas I think it would be hard to participate if you didn't have the audio. So if you're going to do one, pick the pick the conference call. All right. Any other questions for the good of the cause?
I'll have to talk to you personally on the phone about coming to Emmitsburg.
Yeah, absolutely. Judy, as I said, we're sort of doing this testing of the system for credentialing this week. So this week is a little crazy for me, but maybe we can find a time next week to talk through what our next steps would be. Does that sound good for you?
That would be good. You may have to give me a call.
Okay. Yep.
And if we're done doing our music, you know, but I say that every third Monday, every month we usually have our meeting.
Great. Okay.
That works out for you, you know?
Yeah, I'll start looking at our calendars and see. You know, it's probably something, especially for your facility, that we need to schedule several months out because they may have things already planned. But that is just fine. We've got all the time in the world. You know, we don't have to accomplish everything in the next month. This is sort of a long-term strategy. You know, we're looking over the next 6 months to a year. So even if we're not able to get that scheduled right away, Judy, that's just fine. We can be patient.
Yeah, you're right. And besides, I was wondering, could you possibly call the administrator there?
Yeah, we'd be happy to do that.
Because this way, if she hears it from the direct person like yourself,
sure.
And then I just need a little boost, you know. And
okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And I did try to tell her about it. She was just a little skeptical. She didn't know, you know, she didn't want to pay me for my work and then have you guys pay me too or whatever.
Sure.
And her thing was.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. We're happy to do as much explaining as we need to.
And this way, coming out of your mouth would be probably a little more direct.
We're happy to do that.
And so that would be good if you could call her, you know,
okay.
talk to her about it.
Yeah. We'll talk next week, and you can get me some names and who the right people to talk to are, and we can get rolling on that.
That would be great. I appreciate your
Yeah. Well, thanks for thinking of that. That's a great idea.
And I'll let you know when I can get something planned.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jeff. We look forward to that. All right. Well, keep an eye out for information about ambassador recruitment and applications. And as always, feel free to contact me or anybody else here at SPPG if you have any questions. And we'll either answer your questions or figure out how to answer them. Can't claim to know everything, but I can definitely find answers. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And we will be talking to you soon and hope to see you at our June outreach forums.
That's not too far away, Erin.
Yeah, no kidding. You are right.
Let me know what you want me to do.
Okay.
We find a place, and I'll just get some invites out.
Okay.
Stuff like that. So just email me. I'll do what I can.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Becky, and thanks, everybody. We'll be in touch soon.
Just let me know where it is in Des Moines.
Great. Okay, will do, Jeff. All right.
We'll be looking forward to get some information.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Erin.
Bye.